जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन जमुना तीरा वनचारी रावणचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी धमाधव कुंज विहारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी जय गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजन ब्रज जन रंजन जमुना तीरा वनचारी जमुना तीरा वनचारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय माधव कुंज विहारी जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य स्तोत्र सत हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस श्री भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य स्तोत्र सत हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी महाराज श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय। श्री नामाचार्य हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। श्री श्री राधा गोपीनाथ भगवान की जय। ऑल ग्लोरीज टू द assembled devotees हरे कृष्ण। ऑल ग्लोरीज टू द assembled devotees हरे कृष्ण। ऑल ग्लोरीज टू द assembled devotees हरे कृष्ण। ऑल ग्लोरीज ऑल ग्लोरीज ऑल ग्लोरीज ऑल ग्लोरीज टू श्री गुरु एंड श्री गौरांगा गौर हरि बोल। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 5, Text number 19. नैतक चित्रं त्वयि क्षक्तर बादरायण वीर्यजे गृहीतो नन्य भावेन यत्त्वया हरिरीश्वर नैतक चित्रं त्वयि क्षक्तर बादरायण वीर्यजे गृहीतो नन्य भावेन यत्त्वया हरिरीश्वर नैतक चित्रं त्वयि क्षक्तर बादरायण वीर्यजे गृहीतो नन्य भावेन यत्त्वया हरिरीश्वर आदरायण वीर्यजे अनन्यभावेन त्वया हरीश्वर नैतच्चित्रं त्वयि क्षत्तर बादरायण वीर्यजे गृहीतोऽनन्यभावेन यत्त्वया हरीश्वर माताजीस चित्रं त्वयि क्षत्तर बादरायण वीर्यजे गृहीतोऽनन्यभावेन यत्त्वया हरिरीश्वर नैतं चित्रं त्वयि क्षत्तर बादरायण वीर्यजे गृहीतोऽनन्यभावेन यत्त्वया हरिरीश्वर. Word to word translation. No, never. Etat, such inquiries. Chitram, very wonderful. Tvai, in you. Shakta, O Vidura. Badrayana, of Vyasadev. Viryaje, born from the semen. Grahita, accepted. Ananya bhavena, without deviation from the thought. Yat, because. Tvaya, by you. Hari, the personality of Godhead. Ishvara, the Lord. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. O Vidura, it is not at all wonderful that you have so accepted the Lord without deviation of thought, for you were born from the semen of Vyasadeva. Purport. The value of great parentage and noble birth is evaluated herein connection with the birth of Vidura. The culture of human being begins when the father invests his semen in the womb of the mother. According to his status of work, a living entity is placed in a particular father's semen. And because Vidura was not an ordinary living entity, he was given the chance to be born from the semen of Vyasa. The birth of a human being is a great science, and therefore reformation of the act of impregnation according to the Vedic ritual called Garbhadan Samskara is very important for generating good population. The problem is not to check the growth of the population, but to generate good population on the level of Vidura, Vyasa and Maitreya. There is no need to check the growth of population if the children are born as human beings with all precautions regarding their birth. So-called birth control is not only vicious but also useless. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayham Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Shri Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadhi Pashatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. I am very grateful to the temple authorities for providing me this opportunity to speak on Srimad Bhagavatam from this most esteemed Vyasapit of Shri Radha Gopinath ji. And also I am very grateful to Satyanand Prabhu for giving me this opportunity to exchange his slot. And my small realization is whenever you are accepting the service, there are many realizations can come your way. So I was going through this particular verse, and it was quite fascinating to read such a particular verse. Otherwise, you may hear some verses, you read some verses, but when you have to give a class and explain that, you really go into detail of that verse. And that is where you get a lot of understanding. I won't call myself as having any realizations, but definitely a lot of amazing understanding that we get from these verses. And before I start, I sincerely beg blessings from my senior god brothers, god sisters, and even not senior god brothers and god sisters, because you have a capacity to pray and bless. So please bless me so that whatever we can discuss today is beneficial to me, and if it happens to be you, then it's a byproduct, and that is one of the topic today. We'll be discussing about the byproduct. Okay, so the translation one more time. O Vidura, it is not at all wonderful that you have so accepted the Lord without deviation of thoughts, for you were born from the semen of Vyasadeva. So I may seek your attention for this particular statement or the verse where Srila Prabhupada is writing the translation. What an amazing consciousness Vidurji must be having, right? It is said by Maitreya Muni to Vidurji, saying that you have accepted the Lord without deviation of thought. Just imagine this for a minute. What is the consciousness of Vidurji? He is accepting the Lord without deviation of thought. That means his thoughts are always in line with service of the Lord and his devotees. Isn't it so amazing? And because of his high qualification and because of this consciousness, Lord remembered him before leaving from this mortal world. That is the qualification of Vidurji. And we are so fortunate that we are discussing about such an amazing character, Vidurji, in this particular chapter. And if you see even previous verses, right? It is always talking about in Bhagavatam. What one thing fascinates me about Bhagavatam is, if you see the basic theme is definitely about Krishna and everything. But if you see the underlying principle is always about welfare of the people. If you read the verse number 17 and 18, That is where also what Maitreya Muni is addressing Vidurji as, your questions are glorious because it is going to bring welfare to the entire humanity. Where will you find such a granth? Where will you find such a book? Where will you find such a shastra where it is full of welfare for us? So we should read Bhagavatam for our well-being, not for anyone else. For our own well-being, we should be reading Bhagavatam because that is what it is full of. If you see, I was just meditating on this particular statement, accepting the Lord without deviation of thought. For me, accepting the enjoyment without deviation of thought. There is no question of Lord in between. It's a pure enjoyment, unadulterated enjoyment. Anything that I do, I try to see how can I get enjoyment. Of course, we used to find enjoyment in the gross things. After coming to Krishna consciousness, I try to find enjoyment in kirtan. Why? Because it's a melodious singing going on with the nice music. And if somebody is not having a nice voice and somebody is playing a offbeat kartal and mridanga, even though I myself have no sense of music, but still some ears are like, get tuned in. And if the person who is not singing that melodious and not musical instruments are not that great, then you tend to get distracted and you feel it's okay. But it's like, if Gaurvani Prabhu is singing, Radhika Prabhu is singing or something, then you just mesmerize and you see it and just listen. And you feel that I'm absorbed. But I just scratch myself and say, am I absorbed in the holy name or am I absorbed into the tune and the music? Right? Similarly, regarding the Bhagavatam classes or any other seminars and things like that, specifically in the spiritual circle, we first check who is the speaker, right? Oh, Gaurang Prabhu is speaking, fantastic. Of course, he's a great realized soul. It's amazing to hear from him. But if someone else is speaking, then you wonder, he doesn't even pronounce English properly. He is like, not connecting the verse properly. I don't know what is he speaking. My friend, he is on the Vyasas and he's going to speak about Krishna only, right? He's not going to speak anything else. But my mind goes into the eloquence. My mind goes into the connections, which is all on the periphery, not what is in the center. Krishna is in the center, but the mind goes into the periphery. Similarly, for delicious prasadam, if somebody offers, Prabhuji, Madhuram ka kuch mil sakta hai kya? Sandesh, Rasgulla, Rasmalai. Why? Because it is tasty, And I don't know how many of you have experienced. I am very greedy. So when there is a Mahaprasad offering during the festival time, during Janmashtami, of course Janmashtami ke time pe to itna nahi hota hai, but whenever there is a Govardhan Puja, then Nityanand Trayodasi, Ram Navami, right? At those times you can have this non-Ekadasi prasad and you see amazing preparation and looks very attractive, looks very delicious. And then you grab that. And then when you sit down with all the other devotees and you figure out that, it was a nice samosa and everything, but there is no salt in it. Or you have some wonderful sweet, but there is not enough sugar in it. So what do you try to do? Prabhu, would you like to have some Mahaprasad? Right? Otherwise, if something is really delicious, you just gulp it. At least I gulp it. Right? So what I am tasting, it is said that what is that in Krishna Prasad? In Krishna Prasad is actually the saliva of Krishna. So are we tasting the saliva of Krishna or are we tasting the salt and the sugar and everything else? So that enjoyment spirit is without deviation of thought for me. So that's why the examples like Vidurji is so amazing. It gives us a somebody whom we can follow in their footsteps. We cannot imitate, but at least definitely we try to see how we can emulate such qualities that Vidurji has. Right? And then let's deep dive into purport of Srila Prabhupada. This is an amazing purport Srila Prabhupada writes. Of course, all the purports are amazing. Each time I read, you feel this is even better. right? So it's really amazing that we hear in Krishna Lila that Krishna's form and Krishna's beauty is ever increasing, ever increasing. Similarly, Srila Prabhupada's purports are ever increasing way of relishing. You just go on relishing Srila Prabhupada's purport. And if any so-called non-devotee also reads the purport of Srila Prabhupada, they will understand how to make this society, this world, a better place to live. We have so many Sanatan Dharma, this, that happening. But I request, if anybody hearing, please read this purport, and it will give you the formula of how to make this world a better place to live. So many people working so hard, so many people got Nobel Prizes, but nothing happened. We all feel that this place is becoming more and more miserable to live rather than becoming a better place to live, isn't it? So let's deep dive into today's purport. It's really, really amazing. Srila Prabhupada writes, first thing is the value of great parentage. That's how he starts. Nowadays, everyone is after parenting seminar, right? But is it so shallow that we are thinking of a parenting seminar means what? What happens in the parenting seminar? How to raise the child, right? How to discipline the child. How to make your child a nice human being. How to give your child the nice values of life. How to build a character of your child. That is what this parenting is all about, isn't it? Now you go and learn all these tricks, all these wonderful formulas, how to make your child the best human being through this parenting seminar. And you come home and you fail miserably. At least I have failed miserably. Why? Because I myself is not a good human being. How can I make my child a human being? Right? As they say, charity begins at home. So parenting seminar, before we attend the parenting seminar, we ourselves have to become a better. And how we can become better? By reading Srimad Bhagavatam, taking the association of the devotees, by chanting the holy names. Not just by mere attending the parenting seminar, you'll be able to instill your child with the values of life. No. First, you yourself have to value the life and the values of the life. Then only you'll be able to impart. There is a nice proverb. It is said, sometimes this, our Gujarati, Hindi, all these proverbs are really amazing. In Gujarati, it is said, "Kuwama hoy to hawada ma aave." What does that mean? If there is a water in the well, then only it will come in the smaller portion of the, small pond, or not the pond, but the small tub or something, right? That's where the water can come. What does that mean? If there is nothing in the parents, how the thing's going to come into the child? No matter you can get the parenting seminar from the best of the person. First, you have to fill yourself, then you'll be able to fill your child. That is why this beautiful word, Srila Prabhupada using the great parentage. You will see really amazing Paul Srila Prabhupada saying. And then Srila Prabhupada saying amazing word that he used. And my system literally hanged when I heard this statement. Okay? And what is the statement Srila Prabhupada is using? Srila Prabhupada is using a statement. I hope your system also hangs. Srila Prabhupada says, the culture of human being begins. Now, can you imagine, here we are when Prabhupada was there, probably in the 20th century, right? 1970s. He's writing, the human culture begins. In 3.28, Srila Prabhupada gives the 3 principles of human civilizations. Otherwise, that civilization cannot be called a human. It could be animal civilization or even a lower civilization than that. What is the basic 3 principles of the human civilization? Cow protection, maintaining Brahmanical culture, and the most amazing and the important thing Srila Prabhupada says, becoming a pure devotee. Prabhupada's statements are revolutionary. Revolutionary. And here Srila Prabhupada is writing that the human culture begins, right? And there is a connection between the civilization and the culture. What was the civilization last point? One has to become a pure devotee. And here, the culture begins. Now the system is going to hang, okay? The culture of the human being begins when the father invests his semen in the womb of the mother. What is the word chosen by Srila Prabhupada here? Invest. A father invests a semen. Have you ever heard such combination of word? Investing semen. We may have heard the word called investing money, investing time. Have you heard the word called invest a semen? Wow. Like it literally hanged my system. And I was just wondering what Prabhupada is trying to say here. Investment is something valuable, isn't it? Otherwise, why would you call it as an investment? You invest in gold. Why? Because gold is valuable. Here Prabhupada is saying investing a semen, what does that mean? Is something very, very valuable. Why it is valuable? Because it has the capacity to bring a child who can become a pure devotee. That is what exactly Srila Prabhupada is conveying through Vyasadeva. Who invested that semen in the womb of a mother? Vyasadeva. And who was born? Srila Vidurji. So that is the beauty of investment of semen. I've never heard of this. It's really amazing that what it takes to understand Srila Prabhupada's purport is we have to go very slow in reading. We may have to read multiple times to understand what Srila Prabhupada is trying to say here. It is really, really amazing and a mind-boggling. And then Srila Prabhupada further says that, very important again, right? The birth of a human being is a great science. The doctors here, they talk about embryology. And they fascinate us and they, we all get, wow, amazing. This is the time where the eyes is formed. This is the time where the nose is formed. We are so much in that bodily concept. And that fascinates us. But here Prabhupada is talking about, bringing about the great human being. Right? And the science of human birth. It's very amazing. Right? The birth of a human being is a great science. And therefore, see the word Prabhupada using, therefore the reformation of the act of impregnation, right? Every now and then we see a pregnant woman or something, or there are so many deliveries happening in the hospitals, right? Have you ever thought that there has to be a reformation of the impregnation, the method of impregnation? Wow, what Srila Prabhupada is writing. It's amazing. And then Srila Prabhupada says, what is that method he's talking about? The reformation of the act of impregnation according to the Vedic ritual called Garbhadan Samskar is very important for generating good population. What is the biggest problem that people talk about? Overpopulation. Overpopulation is not at all a problem, and Srila Prabhupada confirmed in many purports. Overpopulation is not a problem. What is the real problem? The real problem is lack of good population. That is the real problem. Because we don't have the society full of good people. That is why we have all this trouble. You go to the bus ka line, right? There is always a person who wants to break the line. There is always a person who wants to jump directly and go before you. If the people, even though they are overcrowded, if they are good population, what they will do? They will allow others to go. They will take care of the senior citizen. You don't have to make a board saying that help senior citizen. There are the seats for senior citizens. We have to be told. Can you imagine? What a civilization. What a pathetic civilization where you have to be told that this is a seat for senior citizen. Shame on us. This is the world we are living in. It's a basic human value. Where any elderly person is standing and you are sitting, you definitely get up and give that seat to a senior person. Do we have to write? That is why Srila Prabhupada is saying, and we are thinking overpopulation is a problem. No, the lack of good population is a problem. And then Srila Prabhupada writes the final statement. He is saying, so-called birth control is not only vicious, but also useless. This is an amazing statement Srila Prabhupada made. Birth control, so-called birth control, is vicious cycle and absolutely useless. What is vicious means? Is really, really bad and it's really, really horrible. And in Hindi it is called dushta karma. Right? So now let's understand this. Why Prabhupada is saying this? That birth control is a vicious cycle and it is absolutely useless. Because the human wants to enjoy without taking any responsibilities or without having any guilt. That is what this is all about. I repeat, because human wants to enjoy without taking any responsibilities or without any guilt. That is why Srila Prabhupada is writing this statement. Why? Because it defeats the purpose of human civilization. It defeats the purpose of you being or I being a human being. Let me try to explain this through an analogy or through an example. Everybody wants to go to the most prestigious universities, right? IIT and things like that. Is it easy to get into IIT? Very easy, right? No, it's very difficult. Very difficult to get into IIT. Now let's say if somebody gets into IIT, one student, after working so hard, going through 11th and 12th, working day and night, studying day and night, appearing through JEE and then advance and all kinds of things giving, and then finally this person gets into IIT, right? Now after going to IIT, what is there in IIT? Because I had a fortune to stay in the IIT hostel with one of my friends who was in IIT. I'm not the IIT material anyways. So one of my friend who was in IIT, so I stayed with him in hostel, so I know a little bit about IIT. So what is there in the IIT? There is a nice canteen. Is there a nice canteen? I don't think it is that nice canteen. Okay, it is okay canteen. There is a lot of sports facility, sports room and things like that. And definitely you see boys and girls hanging around. And then definitely a beautiful campus, landscaping and everything. These are the main 4 things that I saw in IIT. And let's say this student who got admission in IIT after studying so hard, this student doesn't go to any of the classes. He doesn't go to any of the classes. He spent his time in canteen, sports room, dating, and roaming around the campus. What do you or the world call this person? World calls this person smart, cool guy, heroic. Isn't it? No, he's a fool number 1. He studied so hard to get into IIT, and now what is he doing? He's not attending any of the classes and spending all his time in canteen, sports room, dating, and roaming around the campus. He worked so hard. He studied so hard for what? For higher education. Now, just imagine these things. Canteen. Why does he go to the canteen? To have nice food, right? Does he have to work hard, study hard to get into IIT, to go to eat into something in the canteen? He can go outside. There are so many fine dine restaurants that is available with the most romantic atmosphere and ambience where you can enjoy. Much better than IIT. So why do you study so hard if you really wanted to enjoy the food? Second thing, sports room. You might as well go to Goregaon Sports Club. Take the membership of Goregaon Sports Club. Na? There is much better table tennis tables, much more facilities of the sports than what you get in IIT. Dating. There are so many dating websites. Even if you don't want to date nowadays, like, you'll be getting trapped. Can you imagine? And you study hard to go to IIT to do dating? There are so many beautiful gardens around the city. Do you really need to go and roam around in this beautiful landscaping to get an admission in IIT? It is absolutely ridiculous. Why? Because this person did not focus for what he took an admission for. He focused on all the other things. Similarly, we have also, after many, many births entrance exam, we have got an admission into the university called Human. And what are we doing in this Human University? We are searching for a nice food. Isn't it? It's a big industry. Food industry is such a big industry. Sometimes some people say few things and it just stays with you forever. So I was in a 11th, 12th, I was going to a tuition and one of my maths teacher told me this. He said, that time my Karmi name anyways, he said, Rajesh, there are 3 things will never have a problem. One thing is the food industry, second is the entertainment industry, and third is the health industry. He said, these three, and of course, nowadays we know the lawyer industry is also always, but these 3, he said, is never will have a recession or no problem whatsoever. COVID also, all the industry shut down, but somehow or other we wanted a food. Somehow or other we wanted an entertainment, and the health industry was anyways booming that time. So can you imagine all the other industries shut down literally during COVID, but these 3 industries. So I definitely consider that person as a wise man who told me this. Now here, enrolled into Human University after so much of effort, after so many births, what are we doing? Searching for nice food. Searching for sports facility. Can you imagine this IPL? Such a big business. Such a big business. It's an entertainment. My kid says a nice thing. Today's match is between RCB and Mumbai Indians. Papa, it is absolute cinema. What? Really? People say it's a game. It has a lot of other things involved into it. And now people call it as an absolute cinema. It's absolute entertainment, unadulterated entertainment. That is what we have come here for, sports. Right? Third thing, dating. Is that what we have come here for? Pigeons can do much better. And if you see, around this dating, there are so many industries around it and making us fool. The cosmetic industry, the fashion industry, you name it, every other industry is just around this aspect only. Right? And then finally the landscaping, right? You pay so much money to go to the resort where there is a nice landscaping. Don't waste your money, go to GEV. You'll get Krishna also and you'll get to see the nice landscaping also. Do something which is a win-win situation. Right? Now see, eating, right? The animals can eat much better than us. Even if you love rasgulla, sandesh, pizza, whatever, how many pizza you can eat? एक पिज़्ज़ा दिया, 2 पिज़्ज़ा दिया, उसके बाद बोलेगा माफ करो भाई, नहीं चाहिए अभी. But have you seen a monkey? There was a nice viral video. It actually gives the glimpse of a human psychology as well. A monkey, somebody is giving one after another. Ek gives one banana, then he peels it. It's not complete. Half khaya hai, uske baad he gives the bun. He takes the bun, kela is still in his hand, and then he gives the biscuit. He has the bun, kela, and the biscuit in his hand. Then again he gives another kela. Like that he kept on giving, and he was falling from his hand. He's still grabbing. I was amazed. Wow, what a capacity to eat. Fantastic. How much elephant can eat? Amazing. Right? Sports, cheetah can run faster like anything here. Cheetah can run faster. Elephant has so much of strength. Why do we have to compete on such things? Right? Why we have come here? As I explained, like, the pigeon can do much, much better. And landscaping. I don't know how many of you been to Char Dham and other, places. If you go into this wilderness, sometimes you feel, wow, nature has made so amazing landscaping. There is no human there. And no human can even imitate that. Somebody showed me this amazing thing. I never knew. Near the Tirumala hill is actually the shape in a, the Vishnu lying form. If you see that hill around that Tirumala is exactly like that. You can search in the YouTube. There are people who have taken videos also. What an amazing landscape. Right? So, we enrolled into the human university for what? For all these things? No. It is explained. Athato Brahma Jigyasa. Now that you have got the human form of life, please inquire into the absolute truth. Tapo Divyam Putrakayena Sattvam. Now you have to perform austerities. Now you have to perform tapa. For what? That is what human university is all about. And one of the important department of the human university has being explained here. So let's get back to the purport. Right? Building on it. So, what is the another important department of the human university is marriage. Very important department. But how it is being seen as? I can tell you from my marriage onwards, right, which is probably late 90s or early 2000, right, where we see people. What is the psychology? People getting married. The psychology is, I have to get married. I should have children. And I should have a nice time with my wife and make a nice house, make a nice bank balance. That's it. Is that the purpose of marriage? And in fact, during the marriage is going on, the first instruction given to the Panditji before the Vivaha Samskara starts, Panditji, देखो इतना टाइम है आपके पास. ठीक है, क्योंकि आगे का स्केड्यूल हमारा पक्का है. उसमें कुछ नहीं हो सकता है. जो भी एडजस्टमेंट करना है, वो विवाह संस्कार के स्केड्यूल में करना पड़ेगा. बाकी का स्केड्यूल फिक्स है. उसमें कुछ नहीं कर सकते हैं. That is the mentality from 90s and 2000 onwards. That everyone else is worried about the next schedule and the couple is worried about their honeymoon trip. They are not at all paying attention that what Panditji is reciting the sloka. No idea. They are just dreaming, oh, we are going to on this particular destination for our honeymoon. And now coming to the latest 2020s. What is the trend of marriage? Was really amazing. It has gone way high. Exponentially they have made a progress on the marriages. Now there is something called pre-wed shooting. And if you see that shooting, you may feel that you are seeing some Bollywood song. Some romantic Bollywood song. And I was wondering, is this what you want to do? And that to somebody else is filming you. Ridiculous. The husband, wife, even intimate moments are something private. It's not to be in public. And that too, this shooting they broadcast on the social media, Instagram, for public to have an entertainment. Look at this untitled Bollywood album. And I was shocked to hear, I am glad that I have not attended, but I was shocked to hear there is something called a nice Haldika Rasam, and I'm sure there is a lot of spiritual significance of that. But what do? They wear a very beautiful garments, both to be husband and wife. And after the Haldika Rasam is over, what do? They actually do all this Rasam in a nice 5-star hotels and other hotels where there is a swimming pool. So with their costly garments, they jump in the swimming pool to get rid of their haldi. Seriously? Can you imagine at what level of degradation is happening? Please forgive me, I am not against the enjoyment. You have it, but think about it, something. And these are the same people will come and tell you why you are building a temple, why you are spending so much on Janmashtami, open schools, open hospitals, give food to the needy. and you are wasting lakhs of rupees in the swimming pool. Can you imagine? What a contrast. And now, the height is coming now. What is that? Because now they realized that why do you have to do a marriage? Because the marriage gives us a license to enjoy, to have our romance. What is his marriage? किसने देखा है पाप पुण्य? कौन है भगवान? मैं ही यहाँ का सब हरता करता हूँ. क्यों झंझट में पड़ने का? Anyways, we may have to divorce in some time. We do not know. Nowadays, even in marriage, they have a writing. In case we separate. Can you imagine? You are trying to get into something divinity, grahastha ashram, and you are writing or having an agreement before you are entering, saying that in case agar we have a divorce, then these are the conditions. So he said, why even get into those things? No condition, nothing. Live-in relationship. So somebody got confused, because the divorce rate came down, but they did not realize that the marriage rate also came down. So they have to do a proportion thing. So this is what is happening. And I'm sure the day will come, because I believe even in live-in relationship, there is some agreements. Let's say we have a house agreement, right? 11 months. Things like that. So they have some agreement. I'm sure the day will come where there will be no agreement also. Just enjoy. What is this agreement and all these things? Anyways, we are meant to enjoy. Just enjoy. Then what happens? We actually, being in human university, we are behaving like a university of animals. And then we talk about peace. How can there be peace? When we are behaving like an animal. If you have seen in animal kingdom, what happens? It's always a fear. Always a fear. That is what animal kingdom is based on. Have you ever seen a dog eating? He's always looking right, left, right, and like this. Even monkeys. Because they know that not just anyone else, their other fellow mates will come and steal away that thing. So they live always in fear. So similarly, if we are behaving on the animal platform, we will also be in fear. There is no doubt about it. There is no doubt about it. Right? Now, what is the solution? The solution is we should guide. I also take a blame because we have not done enough work to help our generation and the next generation to make them understand that what is the importance of Vivaha Samskara, why it is needed, what it is going to bring you in your life, what is the purpose of Vivaha Samskara. These are the byproducts. The enjoyment is a byproduct. Let's say if somebody is preparing for IAS, right? He studies very hard and becomes an IAS. And if you ask, why you became IAS? Oh no, I got very fascinated with this, everybody, when I enter, they salute me. I got very fascinated that I'll get a car with the red siren on top of it. Wow, and anywhere I can go, everyone gives the way. That's why I became an IAS officer. What do you call that person? You're a fool. IAS officer has a so higher responsibility to take care of the entire city, the management of the entire city. These are all the byproducts. So marriage is a responsibility. And all the other things are the byproducts. That is what I'm saying in the beginning, right? That is the typical symptom of a Kali Yuga, where people will focus on the byproducts and forget about the main purpose only. That is what is happening in the marriage. They have forgotten the purpose and they were focused on these byproducts. That's a real problem. That is why it is very important to re-emphasize and re-establish. That's what Srila Prabhupada is saying. Reformation of the Vivaha Samskar also. Because before Garbhadan, the Vivaha Samskar will come. If people are not properly married, people do not understand the purpose of getting married, then how they are going to have a Garbhadan Samskara? Right? So this Vivaha Samskar is very important. So when you enter into the Vivaha Samskar, what is the most important? You are going to find a match. Of course, you have to do an astrological match. That is definitely there. But other than that, the most important thing you have to see that this person whom I'm going to get married is going to help me in the progress of my spiritual life, is going to help me improve my Krishna consciousness. That is how you make a selection, not based on the height and the color and the, the beauty aspects and all those things. Those are all subsidiary. Right? As I said, the subsidiary things becomes the primary. They are not worried about how that character of that person. What they are worried about is how handsome, how beautiful, how enchanting, how charming, how jovial. Really? You are going to spend a life. All this jovial, all this handsome, all this beauty will fade away. As they say, beauty is skin deep. Have you ever been like, skin chil gaya kisi ka? Very thin layer of the skin. It's thin, skin deep. That's it. So what we should be focusing, if anybody is entering Grahastha Ashram, anybody is deciding to get married, please think about what this person is, what is his or her character, how he or she is going to help me in my Krishna consciousness. That should be our primary focus. And if that is there, everything else will fall in place and your life becomes sublime. That's really amazing. Okay? Now, let's assume that you have got married. So what do? We follow the examples. What are the examples we have? Sita Ram. Husband wants wife to be Sita and not at all seeing inside that whether I have the qualities of like Ram. Sometimes I wonder, आँख को ऐसा 360 degree घुमा सकते हैं क्या? Can we make our eyes to rotate, not 360 degree, 180 degree? Right? So that eyes goes inside and we can see what is inside. Because we always see outside. Oh, this person doesn't have this person doesn't have this. I want my wife like to be this, my husband to be like this. What about inside? Who am I? How am I? That we are not looking. So find a doctor who can help us, move the eyes 180 degree. And when that happens, then the Grahastha Ashram goes very smooth. Amazing, another example that comes to my mind is Devhuti and Kardama Muni. What an amazing, and this is going to come in this chapter, in this canto itself. It will take some time, but please don't miss it. It's really, really amazing. And you don't have to wait till then. You go home and read the entire chapters on Kardama Muni and Devhuti. It's amazing. Kardama Muni was a mendicant, right? And who is Devhuti? Devhuti was Miss Universe. Nowadays we have this Miss Universe. I laugh at it. What is this Miss Universe? Have you anybody participating from the other planet? You're only Earth planet participating. Call it a Miss World. That is okay. Why you call it a Miss Universe? Nobody is coming from the other planets. But Devhuti was in true sense Miss Universe because the other planet, Gandharvas and Devtas, were mesmerized by the beauty of Devhuti. And she was the daughter of Manu, Swayambhu Manu, who was the ruler of the entire world. Now see what should be the consciousness of a daughter and a father. The father knew because Narad Muni came and explained the character of Kardama Muni. And Devhuti got attracted to that character. And because father knew that she is attracted to this character, father said, okay, let's go and have a proposal, make a proposal to Kardama Muni. And they makes a proposal, the alliance happens. And after that doesn't happen that Kardama Muni and Devhuti goes for a honeymoon. Kardama Muni continues his devotional service. And what does the Devhuti say? Did you bring me here for this? I need this, I need that. My father had so much. I need all these facilities. No, she humbly started serving. And she absorbed so much herself into the service and supporting her husband that she forgot about herself only. She became so emaciated that nobody could even recognize that this was once upon a time a Miss Universe. And after many, many years, Kardama Muni completed his practice and he said, my dear wife, what is your desire? And of course, for any mother, for any wife, the desire is to have child. So of course, there is a wonderful explanation comes that they enjoyed for many, many years and they begot 9 daughters. And of course, because she served so faithfully to her husband, she begot a supreme personality, Kapila Dev. Can you imagine? And there's a beautiful samvad between the conversation between Mother Devhuti and Kapila Dev. So in this episode, the Kardama Muni perfected his life. He goes back home, back to Godhead. And Devhuti also goes back home, back to Godhead by hearing the instruction of her own son, who is none other than the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the purpose of Grahastha Ashram. When we have children, right? Another milestone in Grahastha Ashram is having children. And as I said, parenting, right? We tell so many nice stories to our children. We give a lot of suggestions to our children. But do you know how children learns? Children learn not from your words. Children learn from your actions. How you behave. It's really amazing. And sometimes, we go outside and how a father and a mother interacts with the other devotee groups or even the other worldly people. And sometimes the child gets confused because when they come home, they're completely in a different avatar. They thought when we went out, they were meeting in this satsang program, they were so nice. They're meeting with their friends, it was so amazing, they were so polite and everything. And after coming home, they're fighting like dogs and cats. What happened to them? Is there something wrong in this home? And can you imagine, if there is only one child, who will he share with? At least sibling rahega. If there is a sibling, that child will share. Hey, what happened to our parents here? They were so nice outside. What happened suddenly? No, there is something wrong. We should call the Vastu person. Something is wrong in the home. No, nothing wrong in the home. Because we want our child to be Dhruva Maharaj. We want our child to be all saintly people. We don't want to be that. The amazing thing is our children can teach so many things to us. Because children can see our blind spot. We cannot see our blind spot. So, keeping Krishna in the center is not just having a deity in the center. And the whole purpose, it is said, Vivaha Samskara, the purpose of the Vivaha Samskara, that the husband and a wife come for the divine purpose. And they become one, not physically, but they become one in principle and purpose, to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is the whole thing. And I'll end in another 5 minutes. There was an amazing discussion happening in one of the program where I was asked to speak. And the topic was, everyone was speaking about the importance of association. At that time, the Kumbh Mela was going on, so we titled it also nicely, Kumbh of Association. Association Kumbh, right? And I was just scratching my head, okay, where do we get association? We come to the temple every Sunday. That is also now not so regular, right? We go to counseling meeting once a month, twice a month. We go to satsang program probably once a week. And when we go in that satsang, how much you are able to associate as such other than the hearing, right? So who do you associate most of your life or most of your time? Who do you associate with? You associate with your spouse. And I was shocked that when it dawned on me, I said, wow, I am trying to find associate. That is good. We definitely have to find the, sadhu sangha. We should do it. Brahmachari association, sannyasi association, we should do it. But what is the most important thing? You're spending most of your time with your spouse, and how you're spending that time is going to make or break your grahastha ashram. You can hear a wonderful class from a sannyasi or a brahmachari, come back and discuss with your wife. Read Bhagavatam together. What an amazing association you have got. And we are finding association outside. Can you imagine? Bagal mein chhora, gaon mein dhindora. We are looking everywhere. Association. You have the best of the association. Take advantage of it and make your grahastha life the most amazing and most fulfilling. Right? So that is what is required. Now, coming back to the Human University. Right? What is that Human University? Is this samskaras? Right? There was a beautiful story, but we don't have time, about how to raise a child. Anyways, I'll tell it in a very, very brief. There was a person named Easy Eddie. Okay, and he was helping the mafia Al Capone. And he earned a lot of wealth, gave his child a lot of toys and cars and everything. And then once he just sitting and he realized that, what am I giving my child as a legacy? And he felt, I'm giving my child to help all these mafias who are creating a lot of violence and other things. So he decided to put all these mafias into the jail, and he knew what is going to happen. He put all these mafias into jail through his lawyership, and he was shot dead on the next day. He paid a heavy price. There was another person who was in the Air Force of US, and he fought in an amazing way, pushing all these Japanese 9 airplanes back and saved the ship, which was actually an airship. Okay, and he was given the amazing title of the war, and the Chicago airport, O'Hare, is named after him. His name was Butch O'Hare. And who was that Butch O'Hare? He was a son of Easy Eddie. Because he sacrificed his life to give something to his son. That is what is parenting. It's not something hearing from anywhere. One has to make that sacrifice, makes one life perfect. So coming back to the University of Human, right? So we go through all these samskaras. We have about 16 samskaras and more, right? So each samskara is a transition of your, from one phase of the life to the another phase of the life. That is how you grow in your life. And eventually when you graduate from this human university, what do you get the knowledge? You get the knowledge, who am I? What this material world is all about. Why am I doing all these activities and why am I getting the reactions of this karma? And to get the reaction, there is a time factor. And beyond all this, there is the most amazing reality, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And what is my connection with that? That is how you graduate from this human university. If you have not understood these 5 things, then you have not graduated from the human university. And then, of course, not just graduation, you can do the post-graduation also. What is this post-graduation? Now you know that you have to establish a relationship with the Lord. You need to know who Lord is. That is what Vidurji is asking. Please explain me all these wonderful things about my Supreme Lord. That is the next thing. That is a post-graduation. And then finally, PhD. What is PhD? Is the ultimate thing, is the love of Godhead. That is what everyone is looking for. Everyone is looking for love of Godhead. George Harrison writes in the Krishna book, everyone loves Krishna. Some know, some don't. Everyone. And that is what everyone is looking for, the love of Krishna. And that is what you get when you study Chaitanya Charitamrita. Right? In Chaitanya Charitamrita, it is explained how a devotee should be, how he should interact with other devotees, how he should worship the Lord, and how we should respect the other devotees and associate with other devotees. And by doing that, how one should chant the holy names, and by doing all these practices, one will achieve Krishna Prem without fail. So we thank you, Srila Prabhupada, for giving us the bachelor degree course available. It's not that we become at least I have not become the bachelor of Bhagavad Gita. We can become the postgraduate of Srimad Bhagavatam and the PhD in CC. So thank you, Srila Prabhupada, for giving us these wonderful courses and the degrees available in this human society. So let us take the full advantage to become a human. Thank you very much, Srila Prabhupada. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.